Hey everybody, it's Pete. Good morning. Welcome to a new episode of today's Best Stock Picks. It's Monday morning, May 24th, 2021. We are heading into a end of the month trading. We're heading into a 3-day weekend. So make sure you have your game plan set, because I think Friday afternoon, we're going to see a lot of the volume taper off, especially if you're an active day trader. Be careful with your active positions this Friday afternoon. I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to getting away from the monitors for a little bit to recharge and set up for the next month. Speaking of the month, that's what we're going to be talking about right now, because we're actually heading into the last week of the month. We're going to have a little bit of a different focus on some of the ideas we're going to talk about today. Buying stocks today and buying stocks specifically this week, we're going to be talking about stocks that have had a good May, not necessarily the last bunch of 21 days like we normally do. Normally we'll look at 4 weeks, 21 days and say, how did they perform over that period? We're actually going to do what we call tape reading from the first print of May and see which stocks are worth paying attention to see if that smart money buying of those stocks is carrying through into the last week of May. So we actually have to pay attention to where they opened, where they traveled to, and where they're trading right now. So stick around. We'll be right back. We're also going to talk about our top 3 financial stocks and the one sector that was the shining star for last week. 1 out of 11, not that much going on. We're also going to talk about the market in general and whether or not we are in a potential change of trend still, and what lines in the sand do we specifically need to pay attention to say, uh-oh, something changed, versus, oh, there we go, it's new all-time highs again. So we'll be back in 1 second. Okay, actually, just before we get started, first I want to thank you very much for being a part of our community. I really appreciate it. I know you have a lot of different other videos that you could be watching right now, and every single day I'm trying to improve. You're going to see some changes coming out soon, a couple of different types of videos. So if you like the kind of video content that we put, give us a thumbs up. That would really let me know what we're producing is producing value for you. And if you haven't done so already, click down and subscribe. That would mean the world to me. Also, something I'm very big on is leave a comment. Let me know below if there's anything that we talk about that you have a question about, any of the ideas, any of the strategies. When we talk about stock picks, we get kind of granular, and sometimes it's new, sometimes it's not. If you have a question, definitely leave a question below, and don't forget to give us a thumbs up. So as we do every week, we're going to actually start out with, every day, actually, we're going to start out with sector rotation. Again, I'm going to just talk about it really quickly. Is whenever you're looking at the market, and we're going to talk about the market next, there's always the general market, which most people will talk about as the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ. We spend a lot of time on the S&P 500, as do a lot of active traders. So you have the market, you have the sectors, you have the industry groups within the sectors, and then you have your stocks. The more of those pieces that are on the same page, in sync, and money buying those stocks at the same time, the more conviction you can have. And maybe you can trade a little more share size. Maybe you can have a little bit more positions. Maybe you can hold a little bit longer. Everybody has different objectives and obstacles, but those obstacles are usually related to the objectives. How long do you plan on holding the trade? That's going to affect what you look at to make those decisions. You need to know that beforehand. It's a really big trading mistake to put a position on as, let's say, a day trade, for example. Let's say you're day trading stocks. Be okay, I want to buy Apple, for example. And all of a sudden, Apple starts moving against you. You're like, you know what? Maybe I want to hold this for a couple of days. That's bad trading. You need to know that before you buy the stock, and you need to know exactly what you're going to do. So when we talk about the top 3 financial stocks that I'm looking to buy today and this week, I know my objective. My objective is for this week. I'm looking for the end of the week. I'm looking for it to be a short-term swing trade. They're a little bit longer than day trades. So you need to know going in what it needs to look like. So you need to know how it could possibly change. That's a big part of trading too, is traders going in and you don't know exactly what it needs to look like, because if you don't know what it needs to look like, how do you know if it's not there anymore? That's a big part of trading as well. Okay, so we're going to talk about sector rotation. And you can see here, this is last week. You know that, especially if you're a regular viewer of the channel, that every single day we start out with where we go over the market and what's going on in the individual sectors. And you can see last week, which is the last 5 traded days, last Monday through Friday, healthcare, the only shining star that was positive by at least 1%. So we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive into healthcare and financial stocks. You can still have 6 stocks under consideration, but we're only going to be taking a look at 3 today. Technology actually had the largest list of stocks, but you can see overall was not necessarily shining as far as percentages. So what does that mean? What does that mean coming into today? First of all, you need to have an expectation for what this means in the bigger picture of the market. So as I said before, we're going to take a look at the month, stocks that have large green candlesticks for the month to see if there's some trading opportunities there. But then we're going to dive a little bit deeper. We're going to look at the number one sector from last week, and then we're going to look at financial stocks, which, by the way, doing a little bit deeper work, there's some that are on the verge of breaking out to new levels, and then we're going to pay attention today to see if smart money is willing to pay higher levels. Now, that's a big thing that I want to talk about because we get a lot of good feedback, and I'm just going to show you as an example. This is how we send out our alerts every day. We send them out. You get them right on your phone. If you want to learn about this, click down below and learn more about it. You actually get my course as well if you sign up. But here's the thing about trading. This is the difference. This is what separates somebody who actually is trying to make money and acknowledging that you have to do stuff. It's not set it and forget it and you go away. Here's the thought process. If you put on a trade, like we're going to talk about buying some financial stocks today, if you put the trade on and it moves in your favor, you manage the trade and you learn how to manage winning trades. If you put the trade on and it moves against you, you learn how to manage that kind of trade too. It's a part of trading. If we have the setup going into the day and it does not give us an entry signal, it doesn't get filled, big deal. Here's the key. It doesn't mean we were right or wrong. It means we set up the probabilities where we know what we were going to do based on what's probably going to happen. And that's the problem that a lot of pretty smart people have, is that they want trading to be definitive. They want trading to be, if this happens, X is definitely going to happen. That's not the real world. The real world is uncertainty in the market. So it's our job, like I talked about before, market, sector, industry group, and then the individual stocks. We spot the order flow in those stocks before we decide to buy them. If they follow through, great. If they don't follow through, manage the position. That's a part of the unlimited upside that comes with trading, especially stock trading, and in regards to the possible risks of trading. But the risk is and should be managed by you through share size, through building arguments, through understanding when something has changed. So when we call out ideas, it's interesting because I'm going to show you a couple right now. When we call out ideas, I get some feedback sometimes saying you were wrong. It's not about being right or wrong. If you're trading to be right or wrong, you're going to go broke very quickly. What we do is set up arguments. How many pieces of the puzzle can we say, yeah, that's a really good idea right now. It's worth accepting risk because A plus B plus C plus C. Wow, there's a lot of pieces to that argument. If we take that trade, there's a good chance it's going to move in the direction we think. If it doesn't, it's worth accepting that risk because of A plus B plus C plus D. That's real trading. Get out of your mind. A bull flag's supposed to definitely do something. No, that's not real trading. So if you're going to learn anything from me, and if we're going to work together, especially in a more private community, and even if you don't, that's fine. Learn that trading is about probabilities. It's what's probably going to happen next, but what you're definitely going to do. Write that down. Pause that and write that down. Okay. All right. So going back over to the sectors, you can see that healthcare. These guys here, which were at the top of the list, especially energy and basic materials, have kind of dropped off a cliff. I am still watching them just because of how strong they were, but there's no trading opportunities in there right now. So now we're going to head on over to the charts. And we're going to first take a look at the SPY. We actually review the market all the time. And you can see here, these are the lines in the sand, and especially from the last price action dating back to March of 2021. We actually had a really good rally. We went parabolic on that rally, which means that it started to move much quicker. And then we broke this longer-term downtrend over this 3-day period. Selling here, selling accelerated here and pushed down. Now what? Now we have this line here, which is roughly at 404, and the new all-time highs, which is 422.50, somewhere in that area. So here's the point that I want to get across. And this is something that I went over with members of our boot camp and our swing trade community this weekend. The market is right now telling us the sectors, the bigger picture in the market, nothing is screamingly obvious from last week. Industrials perked up last week, but we don't have anything across the board that's green. What does that mean for position sizing? Well, for me, that means I'm lowering my position sizing until that picture clears up. Remember, we can work our way to the top and find some great individual ideas, but my position sizing is going to be lowered a little bit right now. My expectation for follow through, my profit potential, that will be my objective, will be a little bit more. I'm getting out into momentum or have a little bit tighter trailing stop. Then we go to the market. The market is not screaming to the upside right now. As a matter of fact, you can make a case that since the beginning of April, it's been in a trading range. And you can see that after the fact when it broke the downtrend. So the bigger conviction comes when the SPY ETF breaks out of this box. And maybe you can even see it a little bit cleaner here on the weekly chart, where you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of indecision. So that's kind of interesting too. If you are a regular viewer of the channel, you know, I've taught this in candlestick patterns. Opening and closing near the same place is indecision. And now you can see 5 weeks of indecision in the market. Now, does that mean that we can't find some ideas? Absolutely not. We could take a look at the financial stocks that I've been talking about right now. And I said 3, but I'm going to give you 4. BX is on my radar this week. You can see it finally got above 90. I'm looking for it to stay above 90 before I look for an entry. Citigroup, we've called out a few trades. It's actually been giving us some pretty decent opportunities where it's paused, pulled back, and rallied. And you can see it just took out another big level here again. COF is another one that actually had a really good rally and pause. So you can see it's actually following through with the market. Very similar pattern, right? Here's the thing here with this one, very similar to what I just said. It broke out and failed. I need to stay it back above that level. What level is the price actually struggling with? But the one that I'm setting up the most that I personally like this week is Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley, if we could zoom out actually here a little bit further, we are actually now at or near all-time highs. So right around this 91 level, just above where we are right now. So I'm actually looking to put this Morgan Stanley trade on in a couple of pieces. The first piece would be a breakout of this 1, 2, 3, where it failed 3 times above 89. The second piece would be above all-time highs. So remember what I just said. This is what separates chart readers from traders. We're already talking about, before I put the trade on, what the expectation is and how I plan to manage the trade. Both of it moves in my favor, and if it moves against me, if it takes off and comes back, I'm going to manage risk. I'll scale some back. I'll take it off. Maybe I'll put it back on. I don't know. But here's the thing. Keep it in your control, not the market's control. As soon as you look at the stock and say, I'm frozen, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, you lost control of the trade. Get out, scale out. At least that's what I do. And then look to either re-enter or look for a different idea. So those are the top financial stocks that I'm looking at right now. And then we're going to move over into healthcare stocks. So healthcare stocks, we've already talked about last week. I'm just going to give you 2 right now that are setting up pretty cleanly. CVS, which you can see actually had a really solid push and a pause. Hopefully you've heard me say that now. Push and a pause, a push and a pause, a push and a pause, a breakout, push and a pause, and now we're pausing again. So that's going to be on my list today as well. And one that I really like today that I'll be honest with you, I haven't traded yet is ALXN. Really good clean push and paused again today. If it breaks out, fine. If it doesn't, that's fine too. For those of you that are interested in stocks on the short side, I actually get this asked all the time about short selling. PGR actually had a really rough week last week, rallied one day and then traded back to the lows again on Friday. As long as it's below 100, I'm actually looking to short sale the stock and probably looking at 96 as the support level. So I want to get into some of the stocks that we discussed where I said I'm just going to be looking at the calendar month of stocks that had good months. Now, JP Morgan wasn't in that financial stock list, but it has had a really good month. And look at the consistency of open to close, open to close. That's what we're looking for. So again, these are a little bit longer term plays for the week. Target had a really good month so far. FDX, good month so far. NUE, great month so far. And NEM, okay? So one other stock that we want to talk about that actually looked like it was off to the races that got hit pretty hard last week, which was HOG. See, this is why, if you know, we're constantly looking for price action to prove itself. We're saying, okay, get to that level and then step up. Show me that it just wasn't an algo maybe taking out that high and it pulls back. HOG did the same thing where it exploded through new highs and then immediately failed. That's why you'll hear me say every day we're looking for price action and we're looking for volume, because it's one thing to hit a price. It's another thing to hit a price and say, wow, a lot of people got involved at that price, so they have reason to support it. Hog actually rallied, pulled back, and let's actually take a look at the chart, probably easier. So Harley-Davidson here, you can see it actually exploded, pulled back, and now it's closed 4 days below the open. But here's what's interesting about this. I'm going to give this stock 1 day, today, 1 day only. It's pulled back to what I consider my optimal entry, pulled back, paused, and above 49 is the area that I'm going to be looking at Hog today. So a bunch of ideas today, but I'd really like for you to pause that video and take a look at the ones that we said just had a strong green calendar month, not positive from the previous month, green month from the first trade of the beginning of May. Those are showing bullish order flow, buying pressure now while the market is unfolding, while the market's unfolding during May. So it's the last week of May. We're going to look for the people, the smart money, the deep pockets who bought those stocks during this month to come back and support them until the end of the month. And we should be able to get at least 3, maybe 4 good days out of that, which is either a day trade for 3 days in that direction or maybe a swing trade right through Friday afternoon. We'll see. Now, remember what I said. These are the expectations for what should happen this week. Some of them might play out. Some of them might not. Big deal. You want to be a trader. You want to feel control. You want to be the reason you make money. Watch both sides of the trade. Have your entry, have your reasons, have your stop loss, have your profit target objectives, then manage the position. Moves in your favor, you look to add a little bit. Moves against you, maybe scale out a little bit. Moves against you a little further, you get out. And then you look for the next trade. As soon as you get out of that trade, say, where else can I make this money back? Don't cry, don't whine. Where can I make this money back? That's what's going to separate you from everybody who says trading doesn't work. Trading works. It's up to you to work it. All right. Have an awesome day, everybody. I look forward to speaking to you soon. Take care now.